not a game, it's a rich
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's going on, you guys? This is your boy Nelson,
And I'm Devin.
and welcome back to the Qbox. Yo, we made it to episode 5. It's
We
crazy.
did, brother. We did, man. We're rocking and rolling, as we said we would.
Yeah, it's just really exciting, to start something from scratch, from nothing, and just kind of to see, just to see it kind of come to life like this is just pretty cool. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and if you guys are new to this channel or it's your first time listening to us, please don't forget to subscribe to us so you can be notified every single time we upload a new podcast. And if you're listening to Apple Podcasts, please definitely rate us. This helps us a great deal, once again. And we are always thankful to get feedback and hear from you guys. So definitely make sure you do that. So,
Yes, please.
yeah. Devin, how are you, man?
I am wonderful. It's a cloudy day here in Michigan, but I'm still wonderful. So, because as you say, we're being that beacon of light.
Absolutely.
As we love to be in life. But it's a great day. So I
Nice.
have nothing to complain about at this point.
Despite of everything that's going on in the world, I definitely have to agree. I realize there's so much to complain about. There's so much to be negative about, but there's also so many good things out there that outweigh the bad. We just got to just stay positive, So but
Always.
definitely, yeah, it's also a little bit cloudy here in Germany. So I'm, it's crazy how the weather's always pretty similar.
It really is, because a lot of times I'll call you, I'm like, yeah, it's sunny over here. You're like, yeah, it's sunny over here. Granted, the difference is you're 6 hours ahead of me.
It's crazy.
When it's 1 p.m. here, it's already 7 your time
Right.
there.
Exactly.
So, but yes,
Yeah.
it is interesting how the weather kind of has that same pattern,
Definitely.
across the world. So 2 different
It
parts
is,
of the
man.
world.
It's definitely very interesting. And speaking of that, we're trying to capture at some point. We're still working on it. We're looking at sort of October 18th time frame.
That is what we're looking at.
Yeah,
Yep,
to get
that's what we're looking at.
live stream. So we're almost there. I've been
Almost
just
there.
kind of working it out with Devin, and but yeah, don't worry, guys. Just stay tuned for that, and we're gonna go ahead and make that happen, and
Yep.
get everybody to see us on different channels. But it's fun. It's gonna be exciting. We also have a lot of cool things that we're gonna talk about there. So definitely we'll keep you guys posted when we're actually locked in for a date to do that. So
Yep.
but so other than that,
Yeah, I was gonna say, other than that, I guess this ends the podcast. No, I'm just joking. This ends the
That was
episode.
short.
That's it. 5 minutes, we're out. But no, I was gonna say, following up what I had brought up last week about the iPhone. I said the iPhone 12.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about it being announced this week, which it was announced yesterday, which I'm pretty excited about. After watching it, I'm a big geek, and I know you are too, but I always have to watch like the full video. When I say full video, they usually upload like an event or their event after they've announced the product, or after the initial announcement. But
Nice.
The iPhone 12 looks pretty promising. I'm still on the fence if I want to pay, because now they're saying it starts at $699. There's 4 different models. So there's a iPhone 12 mini, which is 5.4 inches.
So let me ask you a question before you even get into the specs here.
Ask away, brother.
The mini, is it the size of this TV, or what are we looking at? You know how we do it in the States, man. We go big or go home,
Right, exactly. That's when we were talking about refrigerators in the one episode.
In Germany, it's the exact opposite. Go small or go home.
Go small.
Dude, even down to the milk cartons, the milk cartons at home in the States, you got them big jugular joints, the big square boxes.
Yeah.
It's literally a third of that size here.
Wow.
Like, they're really, I don't know if it's like a subconscious way of saying just don't get fat or something. I don't know. But it cracks me up, man. When I first got here, I was so shocked about it. But anyway, go back to the phone situation.
Yeah, no problem. Because we could talk about go big or go home, or go small or go home all day. But no, so it is. They have 4 different models. One of them is a 5.4 inch.
Oh, nice.
iPhone 12. Well, yeah, the iPhone 12 is 2. So there's iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro. So the iPhone 12, so the iPhone 12 comes in a 5.4 inch and a 6.1 inch, and then the iPhone Pro comes in a 6.1 inch and a 6.7 inch. They all have what I had talked about in the previous episode, OLED displays. In a sense, just means the clarity is just going to be better. Even a lot of times, people that are phone enthusiasts have deeper blacks. So if you're looking at like Spotify, and I'm just using that as an example, their interface is black. So those blacks will show up deeper. Or if you're watching some type of movie, or YouTube video that has black settings, it'll show up better. But overall, from what I did learn about the new phones, it looks pretty cool. Obviously, it has a faster processor. They're using what's called an A14 Bionic processor.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, dude, that is fast.
There's six. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's six cores. So just means in layman's terms, it's super quick.
Right.
Is really what that means. But I'm just on the fence of, do I want to pay? I think the one I would probably look at is either the 12, the iPhone 12, which starts at I think I saw it was $849 at least for the 128 gig, or the Pro, which starts at 1,000. I'm just like, man, I don't know.
Listen, you might as well get a damn laptop, dude.
I can't. Right, exactly. I'm like, I can't pay for me.
It's crazy.
Now, if you're gonna give it to me, clearly, yes, I'm gonna say, yeah, I'll take it all day.
And another question is it worth it? Yes.
Right, exactly.
We know at the end of the day it is worth it, but I feel, and I'm not knocking Apple because I'm an Apple guy for life. I record all of my music. I create everything with Apple. I have an Apple phone. I'm an Apple advocate, 100%, just like yourself, brother. But like, damn, sometimes these prices, bro, are crazy.
Yeah, they keep going up.
That's true. Yeah.
They definitely keep going up, but
We'll I could even say it's like somebody's rent here in Germany. Literally, your phone could be your rent, and and it's like you have to ask yourself, what am I doing here? I don't understand.
Right, exactly. Maybe I'll just stick with my 10R for another 3 years, which probably won't happen because eventually they get me to where I'm just like, Apple has some way where I'm just like, it's just they keep calling me, and I'm just like, will you quit calling me?
Oh, and if you can't pay, listen, if you can't pay it in full, just do a monthly plan,
Right, exactly.
With 95% interest, it'll be fine.
Like, wait a minute, I paid $2,000 for that phone.
It's fine. Don't worry about it, Louis. It's fine. Forget about it,
I paid $2,000. I have nothing to show for it but a bunch of selfies.
Yeah, but I mean, I should tell you something about That should tell you something about like just technology, period. It's really just starting to take off. And in my opinion, technology that we're being shown, and this is just my opinion, I feel like we're already 20,000 steps ahead of what we're being shown, but it's smart. It's a good business model. They want to, give it to us, drip feed it to us. And that way they have a lifelong business. This is longevity. I think that's brilliant. But I seen a phone, I forgot the brand of it, but you watch, like, for example, the Iron Man, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
He has these see-through, like, devices where, he can pull up a hologram and just kind of work on a new figure or a new robot prototype that he's doing, etc. And if you're already seeing that 2 or 3 years ago, like, for example, that wasn't the first Iron Man, right?
Yep.
So we saw that 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if that. And then every Iron Man that came out, you've seen this technology that's, a lot of it is not even out on the market yet, No. But it's just mind blowing. So definitely crazy. And I guess speaking about like tech, I saw recently there was this there's this company somewhere in the UK. They're calling him the real Iron Man or something like this. And
real Iron Man.
Yeah, and I immediately, that was like the title of the article, and I was just like, what the heck is this? So I looked into it, and they were showing, and I think it's in England or somewhere in Ireland. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. I have to look at it again. But basically, what happened was they're finding new ways to kind of improve the medical situation, and just in case an emergency happens. In different parts of the world, you don't really have access to roads, and so basically their angle was to how to get to a person that's in distress quickly. And I think when I saw the video, it was crazy. The guy He had a rocket suit on. Literally, I swear, dude. Like I was
I feel like
literally,
I've seen something like this on the web, but yeah,
yeah.
well, go ahead.
He literally had he had a rocket suit on, and the way the boosters looked on the hand, it looked like freaking Iron Man. It was
Look like
crazy.
Iron Man. Yeah.
So he literally, has this little, has it on his back, and then he just starts just lifting off, and he's gone. He can, literally flies to that person that's in distress, and they did a simulation of that, and they said the person that they had in distress, for example, was literally, I'd say about, if you were to walk there, or it's literally like 10, 15 minutes away. And they say when this guy, had the rocket suit on, he got to this person with under 90 seconds.
90 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
So imagine, executing this type of, new, survival or medical program where they, people can get to you quicker. You know how many lives you can save like that? It's crazy. So
a lot. So, I mean, obviously you don't want to be in that predicament where you save that many lives, but at the same rate, that's the whole premise, behind it is to save a life. But
definitely, man.
Again, as you mentioned, I mean, we're light years ahead when it comes to technology, but it just continues to get better. And obviously,
definitely,
for both of us, we're along for the ride, the journey.
Yeah.
I think about us growing up and watching the Jetsons, and watching cartoons
Literally,
like that.
Yeah.
And futuristic stuff where they're walking around with bubbles on their head. So
this is what year was this? This was like early 90s, even earlier than that, dude.
Yeah. I feel like, I'm just guessing, I feel like the Jetsons came out in late 80s.
Yeah.
Early 90s. But I remember that. I remember Dick Tracy.
Tracy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So going back, I remember Dick Tracy.
Remember, what about G.I. Joe's? Remember that cartoon?
Of course I remember G.I. Joe. I remember McDonald's, like way back. I think it was like early 90s. They had like Dick Tracy watches.
I remember that.
For a Happy Meal toy. And you couldn't tell me nothing.
People that are younger than us are like, what in the world are these guys talking about here?
people that are our age range and older, like, oh yeah, I know who Dick Tracy is.
No, they probably just, oh yeah, I know. Oh,
he was basically like he was like a James Bond. That's the best way, in his own way. I
like the theme too. He had like, it was like in the 1940s, 1950s.
Yeah.
He had on the long trench coat, with the fedora, something like this. It's crazy, man.
Yep.
I mean, I have a nice Kango hat on today, but
yeah, you got to let me know. You got to send me a text, brother. Let me know, hey man, you getting dressed up? You looking like a music exec over here. I think you took talking. I
was dressed like this already. I had a meeting today. What do you want me to do?
Look, you took us talking about the music execs to a whole nother level last week. You're like, you know what? Man. This week I'm going to become them. Or become one of them.
This is an example of what we look like. And
right. Yeah. You're like I want to show you exactly the faces they were making at me. in that boot camp phase.
This face, I promise you, I'm not making fun of anybody, so I'm not gonna say any names, but the faces these guys be making, like, if you're not familiar with this world, you're intimidated. But if you see the person act normal and then they put on a poker face, you just like, you want to laugh in their face.
Right.
You're just like, they're just sitting there like.
It's like an interview on steroids.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, you did okay. Yeah. Meanwhile, I could see the guy's heart. He's having a party inside because he enjoyed the performance. It's just like, bro, come on. Just, you're making me nervous over here. Make me feel, you know what I mean?
Right. But, just give me a wink. Give me an eyebrow raise. Give me something.
But not all of them were like that, I would have to say. A lot of them, for example, when Tommy Mottola stopped, he was smiling and he was just really receptive. Like, I mean, that was a fucking, excuse me, I'm cursing today. That was a freaking.
Let it go.
Yeah, it's okay. Once in a while, guys, we're going to drop a sailor bomb.
Well, you say once in a while. That happened every episode.
Yeah, I know. This guy, I'm from New York too, and Devin, you're from Baltimore, so we're cursing.
Got on my Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I see that. Exactly. Yeah. So, just the way he came back, it was just like, he was just really receptive. So it's not always like that, but yeah, man. Going back to our topic, because we like to switch a lot. It's when it comes to like the world in general, like Because I know we were just talking about being just people being saved and distressed and everything. We were talking about it this week that it's a mental health month, right?
Yep, it's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah, mental health awareness month, and I think that's extremely important now more than ever. I think it's
Absolutely.
so many people, including ourselves in our own little way. Everybody has their journey that are going through something right now, and because of this pandemic, there's been many setbacks. And it's just something that we need to, in my opinion, we need to address. And how do you feel about that, Devin?
Wow, where do I begin?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I say that to say because this pandemic, I've spoken with people. Obviously, we all have. I said we all. Most people have at some point spoken with someone regarding this pandemic. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
And obviously, I can only speak for being here in the States, and I know it's the same in Germany too. But I say that to say, who would have thought, that 2020 would have been like this. And as slow as it's been, and this is what I was talking about with one of my friends the other day, as slow as it's been, it's also, I look up and I'm like, man, we're already in the middle of October.
And this thing started what, in March?
March, yeah. I would say, yeah, it started in March. But since then, we both have seen and heard, of the effects of the job market.
True.
In Europe as well as here in the States. So I guess my question to you, because I'm not there, and being, over 7 months, and I'm just guessing on top of my head, 6-7 months within this pandemic, what have you seen with the job market, or just the changes, or is things getting back to normal in terms of the job market over there? What does that look like, brother?
Yeah, so in Europe, I can only speak for Germany at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say only Germany, obviously.
I really have to say that I'm extremely thankful because I am a musician. I do music full time. This is my job. I love what I do, and so I can't say I was 100% hit, but I was at the same time, because if people are not working, then that means they can't hire me to do the work that they want for them.
Correct.
And so that was a kind of a hit for me at the same time. But just generally speaking, the job market, as I mentioned before, when I went to the airport, what was it? March, or after, I say about April, May, roughly, the place was empty. It was literally a ghost town. And there was just so many stores that were shut down. So many businesses were shut down. Literally, we have 2 terminals in near the Frankfurt, in Frankfurt Airport, and they literally had to close down Terminal 2 because Terminal 2 wasn't getting a lot of flights, and
I'm just curious, because you know me, I like
sure.
So is Terminal 2, is that for international flights? Is that just flights between Europe, or what was?
So So Terminal 1 and 2 are for both international and domestic flights throughout Europe. But if you think about it, Europe is Europe. So even if you're traveling an hour, and you might end up in London, for example.
Yeah.
So that's like an hour to hour ride or two or something like this. Yeah,
I remember when you flew over there for work before.
Yeah, exactly. So but yeah, just to kind of sum that up, it was really, really difficult and interesting. Going to restaurants wasn't really normal anymore. Thankfully they kept the supermarkets open, but
we gotta get our food.
But what made me laugh, out of all things, let me explain something. Out of all, you already know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Out of all things, if you're gonna go to a supermarket, you would think, okay, survival food. Let's get food. But why are you wiping out the whole place of toilet paper?
Yeah. It's like the zombie apocalypse.
But what is the toilet paper going to do? You can't eat it. You know what I mean? Dude, and it was even hilarious, man. I saw, I forgot who showed it to me, but it was one of my friends. He's like, yo, you're not going to believe what I just saw. I said, what? What did you see? he showed me, during this time where toilet paper was really like becoming a commodity. It's like it's scarce.
Right, yeah.
Endangered commodity. This man showed me a picture of Happy Ending as the brand of Happy Ending selling on eBay for $500 fucking dollars. Are you kidding me, bro? And I promise you, I am not kidding you, bro. $500. I don't know if they're doing it, as a joke. It had to be. $500, and somebody bought it.
Right.
Somebody bought it. Devin, I lost my mind. Who in their left mind or right mind or no mind will buy a damn toilet paper, a 10-pack for $500? Man, I was like,
you said a 10-pack.
So that's one thing I noticed about the mental health of people here, just all over the world. Who's buying toilet paper, for that much money? Basically this. Okay, I know we're joking and we're having a good time here about it.
Yeah.
To shed some light on it, actually.
I'm already tearing up.
But to shed some light on it, like, honestly, like, that's scary if you think about it,
Yeah, it is.
The fact that somebody would go completely into survival mode and besides toilet paper, just period, like, people are like, damn, like, I don't have a job, I got to get as much food as I can to survive. We don't know if we're gonna have to get put in a lockdown for a long period of time. People are just thinking outside the box. So that's why I was always open-minded when I was watching those doomsday prepper guys,
Yeah,
on Netflix,
Yep.
It was like, man, these guys are not crazy as they make them sound, It's because you never know. Look what just happened.
Created their own bunkers.
Yeah, and so in the beginning was a bit scarce. Job situation was crazy, and it's still slow, but people are starting to go back to work now, and that's the cool thing.
That's good.
The only thing that's kind of weird and that kind of state is that you have to wear masks all the time, and I know it's the same at home in the States, right?
Yeah.
But you guys got to wear it outside too. Did I understand that correctly?
How
was it over there?
Yeah, I personally do not. Not if I'm outside. And when I say outside, just I guess to paint the picture, like if I'm walking, which I try to do every day, if I can.
Right.
I don't have on a mask now. With that said, I feel like it's like half and half, and I can only speak for here in Michigan, and more specifically Detroit. But I see people with masks on in all age ranges, so it's not like a certain age range that I'm seeing. So, but a lot of times, most people don't have a mask on, but what I do try to do is make sure there's, as much as I can, some form of separation, and you will see people
distancing,
if they're walking past me or walk past them, I'll walk in the grass, if there is grass, or, walk in the gravel,
yeah, of course,
depending on where I'm at, just meaning to give them that 6 feet apart. But even then, it just, as I've said before on this podcast, and I'm not the first one to say it, but just that the new norm, it really, even though we've got a little bit further along, it still is just kind of strange.
It is strange.
It is very strange. Because even for me, I naturally want to go up and talk to people, not saying, if they're walking, but just wherever I am. And I'm just like, one, I got my mask on, so it's just like, you can't even see me smiling through the mask, if I'm walking past smiling at you, that'd be more if I'm in a grocery store or if I'm going shopping somewhere. But it has gotten a little better.
I was just going to ask you, do you feel like it's getting better? Yeah.
Yeah. It's gotten a little better in some areas, but
which areas exactly? We like details.
Yeah, we're all about details. I would say, so for us, again, for Detroit, and I think most of Michigan, the movie theaters actually opened up last Friday, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't been. I know the bowling alleys, they said, were open. And also, I thought they said like some arcade places or something. So in my mind, I thought about, because I know I think there's a Dave and Buster's. Actually, there is a Dave and Buster's here.
Okay.
I was like, maybe Dave and Buster's open, but even then, it's even to think about going to a movie,
Yeah.
there's that part in the back of your mind where you're like, should I go? Because
Right.
it's been so long, and this has become the new norm, meaning us not being able to go to certain places outside of, like you mentioned, the grocery store and
Mhm.
the essential places, if you will.
Do you, just on that topic,
Yeah.
because over here we're doing this, do you guys have to fill out a piece of paper before going inside of the place if you're going to sit down? You have to
No,
fill out. Okay, over
no,
here, what they're doing is,
no.
have
If
you,
they are, I haven't been to a place that's done that.
okay, yeah, basically, like if we want to sit down and eat somewhere, or if we want to stay indoors somewhere, we have to fill out a piece of paper with our name, our phone number, and some other information that they're asking for, just in case something happens. And
Yep.
if you were there during that time, they would have to call you, and basically we would all have to get checked
Okay.
for COVID. But there's mandatory if you're gonna sit inside of a place, and if you do decide to stay in the place, then you can remove your mask inside.
Okay.
But and of course, you got to remove it when you're eating or drinking.
Right. It's like you were reading my mind, because it's funny because, and I say funny because, and again, I've said this already in previous episodes, I have a comedic mind, and it's hard.
You and me
It's
both,
hard,
bro.
it's hard for me to turn it off. So it's just like, and I have been out to eat, since the pandemic, and I would say more in the last 2-3 months, so when it was initially, obviously when it initially happened, we weren't allowed to go and sit in restaurants, but when that ban, if you will, got lifted, I have been back out to eat. And it's hilarious because it's like, okay, I have to walk in with the mask,
Right.
but then everybody's sitting down with no mask on. So
Sometimes it ain't making no sense, but whatever.
It doesn't.
That's just me.
It doesn't make any sense, because it's like, okay, well, it still could get spread once because we got to eat, or even if you're drinking, you still got to pull your mask down. But
100%.
I think it also goes back to, I don't know, we've talked about it a lot, just having the human interaction.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's really the biggest component, including myself. That's been a challenge.
I think that's the main
not
concern.
having that. So
I think that's the main concern for me too. Like, we don't at this point have no idea how long it's gonna go for. Like how long this is going to last, right? We have really not a strong idea of when. We're hearing round 2 or phase 2 or wave 2, whatever. There's so many ways they're saying it.
Yep.
And my concern is what that's going to do for people. Like, again, you just going right back into the human interaction point. This is really going to put people literally in their own world. Like, there's already people that are introverted and there's people that are extroverted, right?
Yep.
So the people that are, by nature extroverted are going to be forced to kind of be alone a lot, or just being in their little bubbles,
Yep.
And that's really going to take a heavy hit on people's minds, especially if you like to be just like yourself and myself. Well, I'm a little bit of both, I'll be honest, but
yeah, you have your moments. I mean, and even I have mine. I mean, it's not like I'm always an extrovert, but primarily, yes. If I were to, check a box and they say introvert, extrovert, I'm obviously going to check extrovert. So
yeah, but yeah, it's going to affect a lot of people mentally. It's affected a lot of people mentally, and especially those people that like to get up in the morning, they like to go to work, things like that. And home office, another thing that's happening is starting to become more of a norm. Now, I like this concept personally, but that's just me. I also don't mind going to work once in a while, to meet with the colleagues and things like that. But like, I'm a big fan of remote work. I just feel like I'm for me being creative, I feel I'm
you're
more
in your
motivated.
own space.
Yeah. I don't have that person on my shoulder like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But so I'm thankful for my line of work where I can, I don't have to be in an office all the time with people. So how about you? How do you feel about the whole remote life situation? I think it's cool personally.
I mean, for me, I've already, in my previous roles, when I say meaning professional roles, I've been remote before, so I
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that has helped, because for those that may have never been remote, obviously that
culture shock.
That can be a culture shock. That can be a very big challenge, because, as they say, those 4 walls can feel like they're starting to close in on you if you don't get out.
Well, I say a culture shock because it's a work culture, it's changing.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's changing. It changes the work culture completely.
It
And,
does. It
mhm.
does. I was gonna say I actually I read and I'm gonna say I've read multiple articles. Let
Yeah.
me say that first, to where a lot of companies are now either now or in the future, meaning 2020, 21, are looking at shutting down a lot of their offices because they've been able to, since people have started working remote, doesn't matter what industry you
It's
work
more
in,
cost effective, isn't it?
it's more cost effective and people are able to be efficient.
Yeah.
And you think from a cost saving, as you just said, cost effective for whatever company, that's
Mm-hmm.
saving them millions of dollars, by allowing people to work from home. Because if you're still able to get, job tasks done and be effective and as they say in business, move the needle,
Correct.
why would we go back into the office? And not only that, obviously you have the potential of, again, someone getting sick and even just
Right.
being in the conference room. And again, now that it's in, I can't even say the back of our minds, in the front of our minds, in
Right.
terms of COVID, wherever we go, we're like, I'd rather work,
Yeah.
like, I'd
The way you said it was, yeah.
I'd rather work from home,
Nah, definitely.
because I don't, whether you have children, whether you don't, obviously we have children, but still, it's just that potential of you getting sick or you getting
Mhm.
someone else sick. I do know a lot of companies that are working in the office, because there are companies that have went back into the office. I've heard that they're doing, a thermometer check before you walk in. I've actually
you go.
been to some restaurants where they actually, before you, which it's a weird feeling, but they actually do a thermometer check.
Oh,
I've
the
been
one
to a
that they
couple
put on your forehead?
on your forehead. I've been to a couple here
Crazy.
in Michigan, and they do a thermometer check, and every time they do it, I feel like I got COVID. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, what
Especially when
happens?
they
What
wait like
happens if
4
he
or 5
comes back? It's like my
seconds.
temperature, right? Exactly. He comes back. It's like your temperature is, 1,000. I'm like, that doesn't even
Yeah,
make any
well,
sense.
because you sitting there. Well, of course it went up. I'm nervous. You just make
Right,
my temperature just rose to the roof. You take
right,
it too
right,
long to tell me what happened.
right. Right now, you're making me feel like you're a music exec, okay? And I'm nervous. I won't let
But
that go,
imagine,
brother.
but
I
I'll
won't
be
let it
honest with
go.
you, that happens to me all the time. Like
Yeah,
if I'm waiting for a result,
yeah,
and it's so funny. I don't know why I get so nervous every time, but I do. For example, I took my car to go get checked or something. I went to go take my car to get checked yesterday, and
yeah,
it's a brand new car,
yeah.
But it's just that what if something's wrong? And
Right,
when they're
exactly.
testing it over here in Germany, they're very, the emotion, you can't really read them sometimes. And it's a different way of expression here, And
Yep,
so I can misinterpret that, I'll show you an example. So
yep,
I was sitting there yesterday,
yep.
and the guy's checking my car. He's doing an engine test, and then he's just testing the traction. He's testing how the gas is working, blah, blah, blah. And then I noticed on the computer screen, it wasn't, that green check mark wasn't happening. And I see him, I'm very observant. I study body language,
Yep.
very sensitive to that stuff. You and I both share this trait. And I see he's like getting frustrated. He's like, Scheiße in German, shit. Yeah, he's like,
I was about to ask, like, what does that
Scheiße,
mean?
man, it's not working. And so I'm asking him, is alles in Ordnung? Is that everything okay? I literally felt like my car was at the doctor. It was just freaking crazy.
Well, that's what they call it. They call it. Basically, that's what they are. The mechanic is the doctor.
Yeah.
You just hope they don't tweak with it and mess something up on purpose.
Exactly. So I'm sitting there and watching everything he's doing, and he's just like no emotion. Like that's the only time I've seen him making an emotion, and it wasn't a good one. And so I'm sitting there like, is my car healthy? So I don't want no bad news because then that's more cost. It's like, come on, man, I don't need this right now. I just want to get my car in and out of here and go home. And so I'm waiting. The guy's writing paperwork, and then no emotion. And I'm just like, man, something's got to be wrong, man. Oh God, here we go. And then he's like, I asked him, "Ist meine?" I say it in German, then I'll translate it.
Yeah.
Is mein Auto gesund? Is my car healthy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was pretending it was a human. I was just trying to make him laugh, And then he started laughing, of course. And I'm like, oh, you laugh. That's awesome. Cool.
Right. Is that a good thing? You laugh and say, yeah, it's still broke. You're like,
yeah, it's it. Yeah. So he
But
was
still, bro.
like, thankfully, he's like, yeah, everything's okay. Your car is healthy. So,
Right. Good.
but yeah, it's just this. It's just the way people are, man. It's funny, man. It cracks me up. But yeah,
Yeah.
man. Just going back to what you're saying again. I know I probably took you off your point, but
No, you're good. You know how we both are. We'll start on one thing and we'll move to
yeah,
another, and then eventually we make our way back.
we'll make our way back. So yeah,
We'll make our way
continue,
back.
brother. Where you were. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say, I guess more or less, just again, continuing the top of the pandemic. I would say really finding a way to, mentally stay strong. I was watching CNN. Was it the day before yesterday? I think it was like 2 days ago. And
Hmm.
essentially what they were talking about was depression. And they were talking about
Yeah, that's
there's going
huge.
to be a next wave of depression, coming with this pandemic.
Oh yeah.
So, and this is just a question that's coming to my mind, brother,
Hmm.
for you. And obviously you can turn the question back on me because, we ping pong this stuff. But how have you stayed mentally strong, you know, during this pandemic? Like
Yeah.
what's been, some key things you've been able to do just to kind of keep your mind, I guess clear, if you will.
Hmm. Yeah, great question. I think everybody's situation is different. Me, I'm really, and I'll explain why. Like some people like to get up in the morning. They like to go to work, be around people. A lot of people are used to a certain routine, so to say, and breaking that routine. You can only imagine for the people that are routine orientated, yeah, are um, are highly affected by this.
Oh yeah.
Um, Thankfully for me, I'm a very, very creative person. I'm a self-starter. I get up in the morning. I'll go run in the morning. I literally plan my day to stay busy, and for me, like my line of work, I can get up, go take care of my exercise, come back to my studio room, and just create music or just whatever else I'm working on at that time, and I'll create milestones. So for me, just keeping busy, staying positive always, that's a big, 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 big plus. You got to stay positive at all
Yeah,
times because it's very easy to be manipulated by the chaos.
absolutely.
And of course, I'm not saying I'm an angel or I'm always good. No, there are a lot of times where I'm really sad and I do not know why. Obviously, we know why. There's a lot going on in the world, but
Yeah.
sometimes you can be in a good mood one day. Nothing. I'm like thinking like I had nothing to be sad about,
Hmm.
right now. And I'm thankful I'm alive, But sometimes it's like a wave that comes that tries to manipulate the consciousness. And for me, I have to really dig deep when that comes because it's normal. I'm not the only one going through that sometimes. And
Absolutely,
of course, it
brother.
doesn't happen all the time. It's like once in a while, but when you do see when I see that, I immediately just respond like, you know what? Look, I acknowledge that you're there, that vibe, but but that's not my goal. My goal is to feel like this. I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to stay proactive. I'm trying to be a good father. I'm trying to make great moves in life, to be successful, continue to be successful. And I'm okay. I'm doing well. Acknowledge it. And this is what's helped me, acknowledging any shortcomings, any problems or trials and tribulations or errors that are coming. And just, I try to always keep a good outlook on it. I know at the end of the day, there's a problem for most solutions. I can't say there's a problem for every solution,
Yeah.
because some solutions you can't reverse, and you can't get back. For example, if somebody that you love dearly passes away, God forbid, um, there's no solution for that. The only solution really, and it's a bitter one, is you have to move forward. But going back to other things, there's solutions for other things, and that's something that I try to look at. Like if I'm going through something that's crazy, like it could always be worse, um,
Absolutely.
and so I guess I just try to keep my spirit up and you know just lead by example. I guess it's a hard thing to do. It's no easy task, but
It is not.
if you
It
could
is not.
acknowledge the imperfection or the vibe that's coming, the vibration that's coming at you, then, and you could see it in people, you can feel it in people when you're talking with them, when you're conversing with them every day. It's like, sometimes I walk into a room and I see a guy that's a little down, or has a weird vibe, a very cold vibe. And you know what I do when I see that? Like I immediately walk up to them. I don't know why I do it. I'm crazy, but I'll walk up to them and I promise you, I do this. I'll show you when you come. If I see it, that's not something I've always done,
Yeah.
I'll walk up to them and smile. Hey, how you doing? Everything okay? Uh, and it does something for them. It's almost like they needed that.
And this just came to my mind. I'm
Sure.
going to say this. I was so speaking of, trying to keep your head clear, or for both of us, the way that I've done it is pretty much like you, and I say that to say, in terms of getting out in the morning, I try to do at least 4 or 5 miles a day.
Nice.
Just to get out and just smell the fresh air, get outside. I call it my Zen state of mind. What has helped me tremendously, and is podcasts, and obviously, outside, right, exactly. Yeah. Podcast has helped me tremendously. There's one called the Mindset Mentor, and, if you guys want to check it out, by all means do. I can't remember the guy's name right now, but that it's only like 15, 20 minutes tops usually, but just hearing, I guess if you positive reinforcement, has been tremendous help through all of this, and even audiobooks, listening to ones that are comedy, listening to ones that are self-development, because this has really been a time to, I kind of look at it as, how will I come out of this better? How will I come out of this a better person, if that's possible, in whatever way that is. Doesn't mean I'm going to do a whole 180 and be a completely different Devin, but there are things that have definitely, helped me grow during this time. And I would say one of the biggest factors is truly me and you talking almost on a daily basis, because
Absolutely.
there have been some days, during this pandemic, and again, like you mentioned, it's even though we walk around, we try to walk around and always have that positive attitude, and uplift people where we can. We're human, so through this, there have been some valleys, meaning some ups and downs, to where it's just like, okay, I don't know if I know I'm going to get through it, but at that moment in time, it seems like it's an eternity, mentally, because that, as I say, this is mental health awareness month. So I would encourage anyone to, if you can, just speak with someone, and I know they were saying that at the beginning of this pandemic, meaning, hey, reach out to a family member, check on them, reach out to a friend, check on them, because it really is important, because, the mind is, it has a way of, can take you down a rabbit trail, as I call it, to where it plays tricks on you, to where you can have those negative thoughts about whatever that may be, and it could be what's happening to you right now at this very moment, or it could be, hey, what does my future look like? Especially when we're talking employment, because you have a lot of people that are unemployed, or maybe they're employed now, but they're on the, on the fence of, hey, am I going to have a job, in the next couple months? So there, it's almost a double stress. And then obviously we all have our own family lives, and I say family, your normal personal life. We'll just say that, outside of your work, whether you're working or you're not. But yes, all in all, I would say, outside of me exercising, listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks, us talking has been monumental.
Yeah, for me too, bro.
In keeping me sane, as well as, my brother and my family and my mother, they've all, and collectively, I think we all have in some way, just by talking about it, meaning the pandemic, has helped us all, whether we verbally, we don't typically come out of the conversation saying, hey, this really helped me today, but it is a chance to laugh, or just a chance to vent. I think that's another thing. Hey, it's okay to vent, because when you keep that stuff dormant, meaning in your brain, it's not good.
Yeah. You mentioned something about the imagination. Well, that's the first word that came to my head. You didn't necessarily say imagination. You said our heads go through little rabbit trails, and I say our mind plays tricks on us.
Yep.
It's very easy to do that, and that's the crazy thing about the human body and the mind, that we literally have the ability to imagine things.
Mm-hmm.
And what's scary about that is that, and we have to be mindful of it. This is why it's very important that if you are aware of it, if it's a bad thing that's running through your head, let's go ahead and check it, nip it in the bud, and
Yep.
then move forward. Our minds have the ability to manifest and bring things to an existence. So
Absolutely.
if you're saying all the time, my life sucks, man, this is crazy, I'm this, I'm that, you're going to continue to attract that problem.
Yep.
It's fact. It's been scientifically proven. This is no, theory of any kind. Thoughts become things. And I know I say it a lot, guys, but this is so true. If you're trying to be successful, if you're trying to do something powerful in your life, if you're trying to have a breakthrough, man, like, just, you got to really just be on that. You got to be on that. Fuck it. I'm sorry.
No, you do.
And go forward, And again, don't, of course, when problems do arise, don't ignore them. You still got to deal with them.
Yep. There's no, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't want to use the word run,
Right.
but essentially what we're going through right now, you can't run from it. If there was any switch that I think anyone would agree, we could just turn this COVID and this pandemic off like a light switch, just turn it off, and go back to normal. I don't know, for the most part, too many people that will raise their hand and say, no, keep the pandemic going.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going for some more months. So it is something that, you have to find, obviously a lot of people have found new hobbies, during this time. I mean, there's been a ton of different things, but again, just really finding something to keep your mind mentally stimulated, whatever that may be, whether that's a conversation, whether that's, if you're in, in an area where you can go hang out with friends or family, and obviously social distancing, because that's going to be in play, but it's helpful. I would highly recommend it because it has just been, again, I know I already used the word, but it's been monumental in
What can you say
waking
you
up
learned from it, from this whole pandemic thing?
I would say, and I know we talked about this the other day, us growing up, there were tough times in my life, where at that moment in time, it felt like, again, something that was not going to end. And I was able to overcome it, whatever those were at that time, and get past it. So it's almost in a sense muscle memory for me. Even though I've never been through a pandemic, I know that, during that time, again, eventually I got through it. And that's the thing about life. And people say it all the time, but you will get through it, but again, it does start with having, as you mentioned, those positive thoughts, because if I continue to put negative thoughts in my mind, then I'm just going to stay there, until I'm ready to, as I say, change that channel, and change that channel to positivity, to where, as hard as it is, you still have to keep pushing forward. And again, like I said, me having those tough times in my life gave me that mental, strength to push forward. And like I said, I couldn't personally imagine not having, and I've already mentioned it before in a previous episode, but my personal inner circle during this time, meeting my family, which is you and everyone else, as well as even friends that I've met. And I know I mentioned this in a previous episode as well, the Meetup app, that I had mentioned, and getting out and meeting people that I absolutely did not know has been awesome. I mean, this summer I went kayaking. I did ultimate frisbee, which I never knew what ultimate frisbee was.
Oh, what is that? You might as well tell me. I have no idea.
Ultimate frisbee it's like football.
It sounds like UFC kind of.
I know. Yeah, like someone's getting
a frisbee
hurt
or something. Yeah.
No, but essentially it's like football, but you're running down a field, but you're stopping and throwing the frisbee to your teammates. I think it's usually like a team of 10 people. But yeah, I mean, these are things that, luckily I heard on another podcast, and I was like, you know what, I got to get out. I just can't sit in here.
Yeah.
Meeting in the house. So that's what I did. I started doing meetups to where now I've got a primary group of friends that I hang out with continually, meaning on a continual basis. So that has been huge, just to be around and me, I'm silly. So just me making people laugh, that's who I am. It doesn't mean I have to always make people laugh when I'm around people, but just being able to be Devin, and not being in these four walls and not being able to be my extroverted self has been just a good experience for me to just to get out. So
definitely, man. That's awesome. Yeah, for me too, I would have to say the same, man. Like in a lot of ways, is I feel we're very in sync. It's if you don't do something about that vibe, of course, naturally you're gonna succumb to these bad energies, and so I think music, for being a humongous therapy, for me, it's very therapeutic. The fact that I have the ability to create it and express myself through it, it really has helped me through not only this pandemic, man, but just many, many, many things in my life. So, so adding something on like a pandemic, which is also, not the best thing in the world, obviously, it's really allowed me to get through it somehow. It's hard to explain those therapies, those therapeutic elements to our lives, that we allow in. And but yeah, I just, if I could say anything for 2021, obviously we don't know what 2021 is.
Absolutely not.
But if I could make a prediction, and I'm curious to know yours as well, Devin, I would say let's keep shooting for the stars. The sky is not the limit. We can always go beyond the sky. We've
Absolutely.
done it. And I've heard that many times. Sky's the limit, man.
Yep.
Sky's the limit.
We've all heard it.
No, it's not, brother. Listen, man. We need to work on that. It's like,
yeah.
I've heard that so many times. And the sky is not the limit, man. It's we are innovators. We are creators. We are engineers. We are astrophysicists. We are just creators, man. And I think we can get through this.
Yeah, no, I won't even say think. We will. So
we will get through this.
Well, we will get through this. But again, it is still important to make sure you have some type of mental fortitude going forward, because it's not going away right now.
It's not going away right now.
And again, I don't know what 2021 is going to bring. I hope it's not, any more, I guess, cases, in terms of, a next wave, of cases, like you mentioned, a second wave. But while we're in this pandemic, which is what we're all in still, find a way to get some joy in your life, because it's important. You got to throw on a comedy. Exactly. If you're into comedy, whatever it may be, if it's getting outside again, that's just kind of my euphoric state. It's just really getting outside, just smelling nature, man, and just
don't live in fear, and just don't live in fear. Fear has a nasty way of paralyzing one's thought process, paralyzing the mind, in a way where it allows you not to operate in a humane way. That's why you got people buying things, and I'm just joking, of course, buying toilet paper at $500.
That wasn't a joke.
That was not a joke. He actually,
that was real.
I don't know who bought it, but I hope he got his money's worth. And just being, you gotta be, just be aware. Just be aware of yourself, and don't forget to enjoy the little things. Those little things are so important. The way you think, when I'm walking by, like when I'm going walk, I'm also going walking sometimes. I had an injury. I injured my meniscus. I can never say that damn word. And it was depressing me that I couldn't go running for the longest. I was out for the count for like 3 weeks, man. I remember. And I purposely didn't run. I could have ran as soon as it felt better, but I said, no, I don't want to risk it,
Yeah.
So I literally took a 3-week break, and I just started taking more walks, and I really got the opportunity to smell the nature more and feel the vibe, and
Yep.
sometimes that's all you need, man.
It
So,
is. It is.
and we're not here being philosophical in any form. This is just some
No,
this is
no,
real
no.
shit, man.
Right. No, it's I mean, speaking of real, yeah. I mean, I know you already touched on it, but
No, go for it. It's fine.
no, I was gonna say I would be absolutely lying if I didn't say this is one of the toughest years for me.
Absolutely.
Just on different levels.
Yeah.
I would be lying. And that's just me saying this on air. It has been tough. So as much as I can get on here and laugh and joke, which is who I am. I'll never stop doing that. There are days, heck, it could be tomorrow, where my mind goes down a rabbit trail because I'm human. But I'll tell you what, it's interesting how, and I'll speak more specifically to you and me,
Sure.
and on both ends, how in that moment, and I say in that moment, but at some point in time, you'll call me out the blue. It'll just be out the blue, and I'll call you, and you'll be like, man, I needed that.
It's always like this with us.
It's same thing with me. I'm like, bro, I needed that, man. My mind was going again, because I'm human, and again, with the uncertainties in different areas of our lives for both of us, it really can lead your mind down a path where you're like, okay, how you sometimes you didn't realize you could spend 2-3 hours, just thinking about something and just playing and replaying and playing and replaying, the same scenario and just all these different, outcomes essentially.
Yeah.
Well, it could turn out this way, and then you just replay the exact same scenario. It could turn out this way, and eventually you got to halt and say, okay, let me stop. And that's the hardest part, because, it's like a movie that won't turn off, or you don't turn it off, because
well, life is like a movie in a sense, isn't it?
it is. Absolutely. It absolutely is, bro.
We're not going to get too deep there, but,
Yeah, right. No, it definitely is. But one thing I was going to say, I know we're getting to another great episode, by the way, but I know we're getting to the tail end.
Getting better and better, man.
It's getting better and better. And again, we're sharing our truth. And I've said that. You've said that since day one. That's what we're here to do. We're never going to stop doing that because it is important for people to hear, hey, I'm going through this. Nelson's going through this, especially in something such as a pandemic that no one's ever been through. I know my children have both asked me numerous times, Daddy, have you ever been through a pandemic? I'm like, no, not even your grandmother has been through, grandmothers have been through a pandemic before. So this is completely new. And even we won't even have enough time for that, but that's even a whole nother topic of making sure if you do have children, making sure your kids are in the right state of mind, because them going to virtual school, this is for those that are going to virtual school, or maybe they're doing a half and half, a hybrid, or at least that's what I call it, where they're going into school for first half and they come home and do a virtual. You got to make sure your kids, their mental stability is okay, because this is new.
And this is why it's so important to lead by example, Devin, right? Because like if we don't establish our balance, our foundation, if we don't address those things, remember we are in a position of leadership, and
absolutely, brother.
No matter whether it's in the job or as a parent, our children are depending on us to guide them, and that breaks my heart, man, to see families falling, to see, just people getting hurt out there, people getting divorces, because I'm pretty sure a lot of crazy things have been happening. And
they have happened, and they're still happening.
And they're still happening. Like there's families being broken, there's people losing jobs, there's people dying, unfortunately. Man, it's just a rough time, and whenever I talk about, my kid or children, period, they're such an innocent beings, and if you don't put those beautiful things in their mind and in their soul at an early stage, they're gonna carry that problem, And so, yeah, man, it's crazy.
No, so it is, brother.
You gotta be positive at all times, man. That's it.
You can, yeah. I mean, yeah. And like I said, if you are in that state, get out the house, reach out to some. I think that's another thing. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone, because you never know
Right.
the person that you're reaching out to, just like how I said between me and you, what they're
Mm-hmm.
going through mentally, that
Yeah.
they're not saying, because there's so many nonverbals that you don't even know what someone's going through. And obviously it's even tougher when you can't physically see that person,
Right. Exactly.
or you're not in the same room with that person. Um, but one thing I was going to ask,
Sure.
before we take off, and meaning
Wrap
heading
up.
into
Yeah.
right wrap up, heading into the sixth episode, which I'm
Oh man.
super pumped about. What would you say, if there's one, even if there's more than one, so be it. Let it, you can definitely tell me. But are there any key takeaways that you would say you've learned thus far? Because obviously we're still in the pandemic, but through this time, is there any key takeaways you've learned?
Key takeaways. So meaning like just things that I've learned or
Yep, good things you've learned, or maybe even individually. Let me say that better.
okay.
So for yourself personally, is there anything you've learned?
Definitely. Definitely. I'm just trying to think of one that really stands out for me. Key takeaways. Family's everything, man.
Absolutely, brother.
Family is everything. And when I'm so busy, I'm taken away from my family a lot. Thankfully, my only family here. Well, not thankfully, unfortunately, my only family here, and fortunately, is my son. I say both. Unfortunately, I can't see my moms or my dad, and my brother, of course, you as well, family. You know
Yep,
what I'm saying?
yep.
Every day, because we're thousands and thousands of miles apart. Um, but for whatever reason, it is important to acknowledge family. We are literally on a uh, time clock. We don't have forever. So during this time, I've really just have taken the opportunity to enjoy my son, um, to enjoy great conversations with people that I care about, like you, my brother, my moms, my dads, anybody that just meet my brother, anybody that means a lot to me.
Yep.
I really just take the opportunity just to, because I've been taken out of that race, that crazy race, where I feel like I'm running in circles, and you don't really have the time to think. I've I've just been given the opportunity to just to think about what really matters,
Yep.
and yeah, that's definitely one of the main takeaways that I feel have really affected me, and that I've learned from is just, if you don't appreciate the little things, man, it'll zip right by you, man. And next thing you know, 90 years old and thinking, what the hell did I do? This whole
Yep.
time. You know. Uh, what about you?
Not to use the word piggyback, off of you, but I would have to say the exact same thing. And obviously, this is the slowest life has been, because life has just gotten faster and
Literally slowed
faster
down.
and
Yeah.
faster and faster and
Yeah.
faster. And to just literally come to a halt like we've done, and,
Yeah.
and still, and for the, most part, we're still there now, in
Right.
terms of slowness. It's starting to pick back up,
Mm-hmm.
in different areas, but meaning a resurgence. But I would have to say, I know how important my family is to me. I know that. I don't need anyone to tell me that, but I have said on multiple occasions to you, as well as, my family, that I appreciate you guys
Likewise, man.
more than I could ever say, especially during this time. And, having those times where my mind just, goes into that negative state. And again, it may not be for long, but at the same rate, it's having the ability to reach out to my brother, having the ability to reach out to you or my mom, or anyone else in my family. And because again, and I know we've talked about this before, like social media, that is an interactive tool, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, but it's really not that interactive, for me at least. I can't speak for everyone else,
Yeah, I would have to agree. It's just it eliminates the human touch. Yeah.
Correct. Yes, I'm seeing humans on my phone and they're dancing and they're doing whatever, or maybe it's just a news article I'm reading, whatever it may be. But for me, I have to speak with someone, and preferably physically be in that person's presence, if I can, because that's just who I am as a person. But I would say that that's a huge key takeaway is the importance of family. And I know we both have talked about it. We'll never stop talking about it. But, if you don't have, if you're not close with your family, if it's a close friend, like I said, I've met people on the Meetup app.
Yeah.
I don't work for Meetup. So it's not like I'm here, promoting it. I don't get any
Sure?
sponsorship.
No, I'm just playing.
No, right. We don't get paid for
By
any
the way, I'm not
sponsorship.
sponsored for this video.
Right, exactly. But I just, it doesn't have to be something like Meetup, but just something to where just get outside of your boundaries.
Outside the box. That's correct.
Outside the box, and this is the opportunity to do it for those that may have a little bit of extra time, even if it's on the weekends, if you are working, just to experience something new. Because for the most part, all of us, not that we weren't trying to experience something new when life was at its normal pace, but it slowed down.
We didn't have time.
We didn't have time. We didn't, the time wasn't there, or we didn't make time. As we say, sometimes we have time, but
Couldn't have said it better.
We didn't make time for it. But now we have this additional time. So this is the opportunity to do things that you normally wouldn't do.
And that is a major takeaway, and thing we can learn from this, I think, together as well, and just in our own journeys, like, make time. Make the time to do what you love. Make the time to be around the people that you love. Make the time to enjoy the little things that you love.
Absolutely.
It's, and I say love in all three of those things because, love does conquer all things, man.
Couldn't say it any better, brother.
If somebody put love into making that house, I bet you're gonna feel it.
Yep.
Somebody made love and making, made it, a song with love. I bet you're gonna feel it. I bet you're gonna cry. I bet you're gonna, you're gonna feel every freaking, nick and cranny of it. Anything, a great meal, a beautiful steak, or whatever for your vegans and people that don't eat meat. A beautiful vegan meal, or anything done with love, you will feel it.
Absolutely, brother.
So I don't know. That's just my thing. That's just my idea.
Right. Hey,
that's just at least from what I've experienced that, personally, and I think it applies to everyone. I think it's not only because I'm creative or you're creative. It's period. Anything. So
absolutely. Well, I think that's a perfect segue into quote of the day. So this one actually comes from Maya Angelou, and it says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude.
Ooh.
I think that's pretty powerful, and
that gave me a nice headache.
I'm even soaking it as I just read it.
Can you read it one more time, please?
Yeah, no worries. I'll read it again. So if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. And again, that's by Maya Angelou.
Why? Because you can change anything in your life by changing how you feel, right?
Absolutely.
And that is so powerful for me. And I have to say something first. I know,
No. Hey, there's no.
I relate to this in so many ways, and yeah, because a lot of times people, when they don't like something, what do? They complain. What is that going to do for you? Because a disruption. It's going to cause a bad frequency. And guess what? Can I tell you something? I have really bad news for you. The problem is still there because you still haven't done nothing about it. So why don't you skip that step? And, if you don't like something, change it.
Absolutely.
And if you can't change it, change how you feel. Change your attitude. That's damn powerful,
brother. I mean, I think that's basically that ties in with pretty much almost most of what we talked about. You know, changing
Absolutely.
our attitude, changing. We can't change the state of the pandemic. Okay, but
And
what I can try my best to do
wow,
is change my attitude. Okay,
that's facts, brother.
that,
That is powerful stuff right there, man.
you know that's
That's
can't
crazy.
you can't say it any better.
Nope.
But yeah, that's what I have. You know, of course, there's always more quotes that I could add, but I think that one really just resonated with what we were speaking about
Definitely.
today. Outside of it, like you said, being a powerful statement. So
Yeah. So guys, thank you guys so
yes,
much
thank you.
for tuning into this episode 5. We are midway to our going to all the way. I mean, we're never gonna stop, but
No, not at all.
the reason why I'm saying this is because I believe we talked about it. When you're starting a podcast, people don't usually make it past episode 7 or something like
7.
this.
That was the average that I saw.
That was the average. Okay.
The average was 7 when we started our research on this.
Yeah, guys, we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. We're literally just it's like being in a new world and getting used to the surroundings and smelling the new air of the new world,
Yep.
and so the more, and this is just, I can only speak for me, Devin, you share your thoughts on this. The more and more I'm in this world, the more and more comfortable I become, and the more and more fun I'm having, and I'm having fun all the time. Don't get me wrong, but it's becoming more familiar to be able to speak out like this with you guys, and most importantly, speak to my best friend every day about some crazy stuff that's happening in the world or things that are just there to inspire. What do you think, Devin?
No, I couldn't say it any better. I mean, each week that like you said, we're going into episode 6. So each week we get on here, it's just an opportunity for us. And we said this in the very first episode, for us to just speak our truth. And I know,
right.
I won't stop saying that. It's almost like how we've joked and said there's certain things we just won't stop saying, but it is important. It's important for people to hear our voices as well as other people's voices, because we're not the only one. We're not the only ones on this planet. But I think just hearing testimonials, especially during this time, of what people are going through, and understanding like, hey, these two guys are, for those that listen to our podcast, these two guys are willing to be vulnerable and shed light on what they're going through, during this time, or, as we get further along into other episodes, just their life experiences, which that alone, is not easy, for most people. Of course, we bring the jokes, which is important because we love to make people laugh, but there is that other piece of that where it's like, what, we're here. Let's utilize this platform for good. And that good is sharing our life experiences that hopefully in turn will help others, along the way, whether they're going through something we've already been through previously in our life, or going through something that we're currently going through now. And they may be going through the same thing, that like, hey, you know what? If there's a way for that person, and I say that person, Nelson or Devin, to quote unquote, as we just read, change their attitude, which is not easy.
It's easier said than done, for sure.
It's easier said than done. Then maybe that will hopefully inspire, and uplift, and that's truly why we're here. And like you said, we got a long journey ahead of us, and I'm super excited about it.
Definitely, and I'll leave it right there. Devin, thank you for that, man, and of course, it's always a pleasure to speak with my brother every week,
brother.
We get the opportunity just to kind of speak out to the world and kind of let you guys know, not kind of, just let you guys know how we feel and where our mind is at. So guys, if you're just tuning in for the first time, definitely, I'll say it again, do us a favor and subscribe to the podcast, so you can be notified every single time we upload a new podcast. And again, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and rate us. Leave us a nice comment. Yeah. If you want us to talk about something in particular, there's a topic that hasn't been addressed yet, just bring it to our attention. And if we can do it, we'll make it happen. Okay. And
absolutely.
Everybody that's been showing love to us so far, we just want to say thank you right now. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
Because every time we do get a nice comment or some good feedback, it just really motivates us to kind of keep pushing forward and to continue having fun with this. So you done heard us sing. You guys, you guys done heard us make mistakes and do some bloopers for you guys. I mean,
Yep.
you done heard us laugh, tell jokes. I mean, you're getting the opportunity to kind of dive in our world, and we got way more than that coming. So,
Oh yeah, 100%.
so guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode, episode 6. Take care, guys.
Take care.